Hey, it's Judy with Five Sisters Quilt Shop. I'm so excited that we started our first block of the month this year. Block 1 was released in January, so I'm a little bit behind, but I do plan to sew each block with you guys and give you some tips along the way. So let's get started with block 1. So here's the pattern and the fabrics that we're going to use for block 1. It also shows the squares cut out, and then we're matching them up here and we're about to sew them together. Okay, so I'm going to try and show you how this little nest we're making, or whatever, web I think is what it's called in the pattern. I'm just going to sew these. I'm going to chain sew them. If you've never chain sewed before, it's really simple. All you do is just not cut your thread and just keep sewing, making sure, of course, that you match things up, and you're doing 1/4 of an inch. I always do like a scant 1/4 of an inch, just because I tend to take a pretty big seam if I don't, and then things don't ever measure what they're supposed to measure. So you can keep that in mind. So what we're doing here, we're doing these 2 rows of this 9-patch block. And I'm going to pause the video here in just a minute while I iron these open. Okay, so this is the start of my web. I just have actually 3 more pieces to sew on here. And I wanted to show you, I'm reversed the ironing, like which way I'm ironing it. Goes this way, that way, and then this way again. That's because at the end of it, I want to be able to nest my seams together. And they're much easier to match up that way if you can nest them in that way. I'm going to sew these on real quick and I'll show you the finished web. Okay, so I have my web made here. These are all still connected. Ta-da! So I just need to sew these 2 seams here and we'll have a finished block. Okay, so this is the last 2 seams, and I hope you can see this. You want to line up your seams, nest them in so that they lock into each other. And it's way better if you can get it on the machine with the seam that's facing outward, so that as you sew it, it pushes this one into the next one and locks it in there, and you get a really good match. All right, so here's the finished block. And you can see on the back, oops, you can see on the back how all the seams are nested neatly. All right, stay tuned for block 2.